Chapter 4. The Fallout. Watching karma do the heavy lifting. There's this quote I heard somewhere, something about revenge being a dish best served cold. But honestly, I think that's wrong. Revenge isn't a dish at all. It's more like a wildfire. You light the match, and then you step back and watch everything burn. That's exactly what happened after the truth came out. I didn't have to lift another finger. I'd done my part. I'd exposed the lies, filed the papers, and let the chips fall where they may. And fall they did. Hard, fast, and absolutely beautifully. David's collapse. Let's start with my dear, devoted husband. David's ethics investigation at work wrapped up about 6 weeks after I made that anonymous call. Turns out, moving marital funds into a secret account with your mistress doesn't exactly scream trustworthy financial advisor. His firm didn't fire him outright. That would have been too clean. Instead, they encouraged him to resign, to avoid a public termination that would have followed him forever. So David quit. Walked out of his fancy downtown office with a cardboard box and whatever was left of his dignity. But here's where it gets good. The divorce settlement hit him like a freight train. My attorney was ruthless. God bless her. Between the adultery evidence, the dissipation of assets, and David's suddenly unemployed status, the judge ruled entirely in my favor. David had to liquidate his 401k to pay me back every cent he'd funneled to Maya, plus damages. We sold the house, and I walked away with 70% of the equity. He went from a 3-bedroom home in Westerville to a 1-bedroom apartment in a sketchy part of Reynoldsburg. The kind of place with thin walls and neighbors who blast music at 2 in the morning. I know because his mother told me. But we'll get to her later. And Maya? The woman he'd thrown away his entire life for? Yeah, about that. Turns out, karma has one hell of a sense of humor. About 2 months after everything blew up, I heard through the family grapevine that Maya had a miscarriage. Early term. She'd lost the baby sometime in January but hadn't told anyone, including David. Let me say that again. She hid the miscarriage from him for weeks. The pregnancy that was supposed to be their fresh start, their reason for eventually coming clean, their twisted little love child, gone. And she didn't even have the decency to tell him. David found out from my cousin Marcus, who heard it from my aunt, who heard it from someone at Maya's old church. Not from Maya herself. She let him keep believing they were going to be parents while she dealt with it alone. Poetic, isn't it? He lied to me for 3 years. She lied to him when it mattered most. Liars lying to liars. A match made in hell. After that, David spiraled. Hard. Started drinking, like really drinking. The kind where you're cracking open beers at noon and calling it brunch. He tried reaching out to me a few times. Pathetic voicemails at 2 in the morning, slurring about how sorry he was, how he never meant for it to happen, how he still loved me. I never responded. Not once. Some bridges don't deserve rebuilding. They deserve to stay burned. Maya's exile. Now let's talk about my sister. My own flesh and blood. The girl I grew up with, shared a bedroom with, defended on playgrounds and cried with at our grandmother's funeral. The girl who stabbed me in the back for 3 years straight. St. Catherine's didn't renew Maya's contract. Officially, it was a mutual decision. Unofficially, everyone knew why. Parents didn't want their kids taught by a woman who'd had an affair with her sister's husband. Can't really blame them. Without a job and with her reputation in shreds, Maya couldn't stay in Columbus. Too many people knew. Too many whispers at the grocery store, dirty looks at the gym, former friends suddenly too busy to hang out. So she ran. Packed up her apartment, loaded everything into a U-Haul, and moved to some small town in Tennessee, about 800 miles away from everyone and everything she'd ever known. Starting over, I guess. Somewhere nobody knew her name or her shame. Before she left, she called me one last time. I don't know why I answered. Maybe I needed closure. Maybe I wanted to hear her grovel. She was crying. Ugly crying, the kind where you can barely breathe. Rachel, she sobbed. You didn't have to ruin my life. You didn't have to tell everyone. We could have handled this privately. You didn't have to destroy everything. I let her finish. Let her get it all out. And then I said the last words I'll ever speak to her. I didn't ruin your life, Maya. You did that all by yourself. I just stopped covering for you. You handed me the match. I didn't blow it out. That's the difference. Then I hung up. I haven't heard from her since. Neither have my parents. She's dead to this family, and honestly, she should be. Some things are unforgivable. Sleeping with your sister's husband for 3 years is one of them. The unexpected ally. Now here's the part of the story nobody expects. The plot twist I didn't see coming. About a month after the divorce was finalized, I got a text from an unknown number. It said, "Rachel, this is Linda, David's mom. Can we talk?" I almost ignored it. Why would I want to talk to her? Her son had destroyed my life. But something made me respond. Curiosity, maybe. Or maybe I just needed someone to acknowledge what I'd been through. We met for coffee at a little cafe in German Village. Linda looked older than I remembered. Tired. Worn down. She apologized before I even sat down. "I am so sorry," she said, tears already forming. "I raised him better than this. I thought I raised him better than this. What he did to you, there's no excuse. None. And I want you to know that as far as I'm concerned, you're still family. You'll always be family. He's the one I lost. Not you." I didn't expect those words to hit me so hard. But they did. Because in that moment, I realized something important. Family isn't about blood. It's about loyalty. It's about who shows up when everything falls apart. And sometimes, the people who should have had your back are the ones holding the knife. While the people you least expect become your biggest supporters. Linda and I still talk. She sends me birthday cards. Checks in every few weeks. She chose me over her own son. That means more than I can ever explain. The fallout was everything I needed it to be. David lost his job, his money, his home, and eventually his dignity. Maya lost her career, her family, and her place in the world. They both got exactly what they deserved. But revenge, as sweet as it was, only took me so far. Because once the dust settled, once the satisfaction faded, I was still standing in the wreckage of my old life. And I had to figure out who I was going to be now.